Somewhere out there, right this very second, a machine is running quietly in the background. It's never met you, it's never spoken to you, it has never seen your face, and yet, it might actually understand you better than your own family does. So, how is that even possible? How can cold, calculating code map out the sheer complexity of who you are?
Think about who knows you best. Is it a lifelong friend? A parent? Maybe your partner? We naturally assume that the truest, most accurate picture of who we are is held by the people who love us. But what if that's just a complete illusion? What if the absolute best mirror of your personality isn't held by a person at all, but by a silent algorithm that has never loved anything?
Let's dive right into Section 1, the unsettling digital truth, the 2015 Facebook Likes study.
Okay, so to really grasp how a machine can read us so perfectly, we have to look back at a groundbreaking 2015 study from researchers at Stanford and the University of Cambridge. Honestly, this study completely shattered the illusion of human intimacy and digital privacy. The research team gathered over 86,000 volunteers to take a massive 100-item personality questionnaire. But here's the critical part. They didn't just ask the volunteers to rate themselves. They had their friends, family members, spouses, and co-workers judge their personalities too. They were essentially setting up the ultimate showdown, human intuition versus digital data, by analyzing nothing more than a person's Facebook likes.
And what exactly were they measuring in this showdown? They used the Big Five personality model. This is basically the absolute gold standard in psychology. It measures openness to experience, conscientiousness, extraversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. So the stage was set. The algorithm was fed the digital footprint, and the humans relied on their years and years of personal relationships.
Which brings us to the biggest, and frankly most unsettling question of this entire explainer. How much data does a machine actually need to beat human judgment? How many simple, totally mundane digital clicks does it take to outsmart the people we spend our entire lives with? Well, let's look at the numbers, because they escalate incredibly fast.
10. Just 10 likes. With only 10 digital data points, the algorithm's personality judgments were already more accurate than a work colleague. Think about that. The person you sit next to every single day, 5 days a week, is completely outmatched by 10 simple clicks on a screen. 70. As the data pool grows, the algorithm's power sharpens. At about 70 likes, the machine officially outperforms a friend or a roommate, someone you might share your home, your meals, and your secrets with, beaten by just a tiny fraction of your digital history.
150. Now this is where it gets genuinely chilling. With 150 likes, the algorithm becomes more accurate than your own family members. Parents, siblings, the people who have literally known you since the exact day you were born, surpassed by an algorithm reading a handful of digital interactions.
300. With around 300 likes, the machine crosses the final line. At this number, the algorithm's assessment matches, or even exceeds, the accuracy of a person's spouse, the one single individual on Earth traditionally considered to know you better than anyone else.
227. So why is this specific number so absolutely crucial? Because at the time of this study, the average Facebook user already had around 227 likes. Do you see what that means? It meant that for most people, the algorithm already understood their personality better than nearly everyone in their real physical lives. The machine had already won.
Moving on to Section 2, why the machine wins, the unfair advantage.
So how on earth does a cold machine pull this off? Well, the researchers pointed out that algorithms have a fundamentally unfair advantage. On the human side, our memory is highly selective. We forget things, we distort facts based on how we feel in the moment. We're also completely context-bound. Your coworkers only see the work you, your family only sees the home you. But algorithms, they have massive storage, they literally never forget. And crucially, they track your patterns across every single context of your life, building a massive composite picture that no human being could ever fully observe.
Plus, as humans, we are heavily bound by emotion. We're swayed by closeness, self-interest, and simple social politeness. We desperately want to see our loved ones in a good light. But as this quote captures so perfectly, a machine has no incentive to see us more favorably than the data suggests. It completely lacks the emotional attachments that inevitably cloud human judgment.
Which leads us to Section 3, predicting emotions and decisions, beyond simple traits.
Now, if you think this stops at some 2015 personality quiz, you are in for a surprise. The implications here extend far, far beyond simple traits. Follow-up research has proven that our digital footprints reveal an astonishing amount of deeply personal information.
We're not just talking about what you actively post. We're talking about inferences drawn from your browsing history, your purchase patterns, and even microscopic details, like how many fractions of a second you hesitate before clicking on something. From these tiny digital breadcrumbs, machines can figure out your current emotional state, your political leanings, and hidden personal traits, often without you ever saying a word.
And today, this is just the reality of our digital world. Modern recommendation algorithms across streaming services, social media platforms, and online retailers are applying these exact same principles at a massive global scale. They are continuously, relentlessly updating predictions about what you want, what you're feeling, and what you're likely to do next. And they're doing all of this based entirely on subtle behavioral patterns, completely bypassing anything you actually state out loud.
Let's look at Section 4, the modern privacy dilemma, the ethical weight.
With this kind of godlike predictive power comes a massive shadow. The researchers who conducted the original study warned of some very severe ethical risks. If an algorithm can figure out deeply personal traits from harmless-looking data like clicks and hesitation times, we face serious vulnerabilities. We are talking about algorithms potentially deciding who gets hired, driving hyper-targeted advertising, enabling political persuasion, and facilitating outright behavioral manipulation. And the most dangerous part of all this predictive profiling operates totally at scale, completely in the background, influencing public behavior without the individual's awareness.
Ultimately, perhaps the most striking takeaway from this entire explainer isn't really about the code at all. It's about us and human self-knowledge. We walk through life assuming that we, and the people closest to us, have privileged insight into who we truly are, but the data proves otherwise. A machine with no understanding of emotion, memory, or love can read us with terrifying clarity for one simple reason. It pays complete, unbiased attention to what we actually do, rather than who we say we are.
Which leaves us with one final, undeniable reality. Every single click, every pause, every mindless scroll late at night, it's all being recorded, analyzed, and assembled into a digital mirror. So as we wrap up and you go back to your day, I want you to ask yourself, what is your digital footprint whispering behind your back?